Mike Dell's World number 209. It is December 6th, 2014.
Don't bend the space-time continuum for me, babe.
Quit screwing around with that thing. You found Mike Dell's World.
Sunrise paints these cherry-colored clouds, wakes the earth, shining rays out on the ground, brings to life a town below the base, where there's great food and better people. Everyone's a friend, all are welcome. Where the compass ends, so raise a toast to one more day. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. Take me there, take me where it's pushing, pulling me along. Takes me slow, my heart is full. Everything's right from wrong. Smiles dancing, sun and snow. Nothing ever looks so pretty. Oh my, oh my. Take me there to Traverse City. I'm dreaming of paradise, and mine is in the north. This feeling brings me back, always wanting more. Close my eyes, and the moments and memories always make me smile. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. So take me there, take me where it's pushing, pulling me along. Takes me slow, my heart is full. Everything's right from wrong. Smiles dancing, sun and snow. Nothing ever looks so pretty. Oh my, oh my. Take me there to Traverse City.
That was the Hackney Turtles. It's a local group here in Traverse City. Of course, the song was called Take Me to Traverse City. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. This is Mike, and I am in Traverse City, as per usual, here at the Mike Dell's World Studios. This isn't an on-the-road show, so I haven't done one of these in a while. I got an email from a guy a couple of weeks ago saying, "Hey, you going to do any more of these?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I planned on it, and I actually planned on it a couple of weeks ago, and I started recording in the van and on a trip, and anyway, one thing led to the other, and that recording didn't turn out so well, so I figured, I'll just do it in the studio when I get a little time." It's Saturday, the 6th of December, as I said at the beginning, and not a lot going on here. All the summer activities that were keeping me so busy this late summer and fall have concluded. We did get the house mostly painted. I've got one side yet to do. I got it all prepped and primed. Excuse me. And we got to do the garage yet. So next year I've got 5 gallons of paint, stain, whatever you want to call it, sitting behind me here in the studio to stay out of the freezing weather for the winter. And next spring I'll take it over to the paint store, have them shake it up, and we can continue on. But what we did get done looks really good. As you know, or may not know, I live in an old 1940s log cabin here in Traverse City. And it was in bad need of some paint, some restoration. So we did our best and filled in all the cracks on the logs and primed it up and painted it up, and it looks pretty good. Replaced the decking on the front porch, and that looks really good. So as long as you don't look at the north side of the house looks pretty okay. The next big project here as far as home improvements, a couple of them. One is to replace the flooring in the dining room area. The dining room area was added on sometime in the 60s, and whoever did it didn't pay extremely close attention to the level of things. So the flooring in the dining room is kind of sunk from where it's supposed to be to where it is now, about an inch too short. So my fix for that, I'm going to do a little research, but I'm thinking I'm going to take it right down to the floor joists and then build it back up so that it's high enough to put down some laminate or something. And then the kitchen, we're going to do the cabinets and sink countertops, all that stuff, and finish the floor. We're kind of going for the shabby chic. It's an old wood floor, and it looks pretty cool the way it is. It just needs a little protecting. So we're going to sand it a little bit and put down some polyurethane, I think, and just leave it as is. And of course, it was remodeled in the 70s, so it still had some 70s era stuff, like a drop ceiling. Well, originally they had carpet over all the wood floors in here. But I guess that was the way things were in the 70s, wall-to-wall carpeting. Well, they had carpet in the bathroom, they had carpet in the kitchen and the dining room. We've taken that all up, and we refinished the bathroom floors and, redid the bathroom. But hadn't got around to the kitchen yet. It's got those nice 60s cabinets in there. Not the nice ones, the cheap ones, actually, I should say. So we'll update that with a little something from Menards, probably. I'm guessing we'll just get the whatever they've got in stock ones. I'm not going to get any fancy with that, and I don't know what for countertops, but definitely not going to do marble or anything crazy like that. It's an old log cabin. It should look like an old log cabin, but let's make it look like an updated log cabin. I'm going to take the drop ceiling out of the kitchen also, because what's really nice about it is if underneath that drop ceiling is round beams, log beams, and then the flooring from upstairs. It's nice wood floors upstairs, and you can see that on the downstairs. So why not? I'll take that out. I got to figure out what to do with lighting, but that'll be a nice project for this winter. Hopefully it's not too disruptive, but we'll see. I'm going to try to do as much of it myself as I can with a little bit of consulting and advice from people that know what they're doing. So needless to say, I've got my work cut out for me. I think I'm going to throw in a little ad here. Not really an ad, but since I'm part of the Blueberry Network, I might as well. I do it on my other show.
Blueberry.com is the digital media interface for everyone. Consumers, find great content and create a single RSS feed for all your favorite shows. Creators, post your show and get comprehensive stats and easy-to-read reports. Advertisers, access new markets via hundreds of available content channels that reach across all demographics. The Blueberry Network, online at blueberrynoease.com.
And I don't know how many of you are podcasters or potential podcasters, but I do another show called the Podcast Help Desk at podcasthelpdesk.com. There's no "the" in it. It's just podcasthelpdesk.com. And you have a promo code for Blueberry if you want to try a free month of hosting or statistics for your podcast. Use the promo code NOBS, N-O-B-S, all run together. And that'll get you a free month and all that over at blueberry.com. And let's see, about that NOBS code, it's because I've got a book coming out again. Of course, I did the Flight Radio book a few years ago and rewrote it a couple years ago, or a year ago, something like that. And I've got another one coming out called the No BS Guide to Podcasting. So look for that coming soon. And you can find that at nobspodcasting.com or over at my other site, podcasthelpdesk.com. So enough of the commercial / self-promotion. Been having a little fun with redesigning the website. Of course, I do that periodically. So if you haven't been over to MikeDell.com in a while, check it out. It's rather plain, but it's rather plain in a good way, I think. Been doing tech support for Blueberry for a long time, and a lot of the problems people have is because they have complicated WordPress themes. And, their websites are just extremely complicated, and they got things that slide in, they got moving pictures and and all that. And, every little thing you add to WordPress can cause problems with other things in WordPress. So I decided I'm going to see if I can make a decent looking website with using the stock standard WordPress theme called 2014 currently. And I think I did an okay job. It's pretty straightforward to the point, but everything's there. Also been beta testing PowerPress version 6, and as part of that, there's a new subscribe widget on the sidebar and a new subscribe page. And if you see that, and what's nice about it is you go on it on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android or, I assume a Windows phone, although I've never tried that. Or even a web browser, you've got big, nice buttons to hit. Okay, I'm going to subscribe to it in iTunes, or I'm going to subscribe to the RSS feed, and it gives you all kinds of options for that. And please do subscribe if you're just listening on the website. Make sure that you get these whenever I do them, which is kind of cool. And that's the power of podcasting. So, enough navel gazing about that. I do enough of that on the other show. But that's what came to mind. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Another podcast-related thing. If you remember back in the day, way back in the day, a friend of mine and I did the ham radio pod class. And even though the class is kind of out of date as far as, the current questions on the FCC question pool, all the information is still valid and good, and so I made the decision to repost that, and I posted it over at MikeDell.com, so if you want to subscribe to that one, you can, and I think there's 39 episodes are up there, and that'll help you get your first ham radio license, technician class, and then it goes on to the general class, the first upgrade, and that gives you your HF privileges and more power and all that. So those courses are over there for free. Go check them out.
This podcast is part of the Blueberry Network. Find other fine podcasts at www.blubrry.com. That's Blueberry with no E's.
And thank you, Richard, for that. That liner, we recorded a bunch of those out in front of a restaurant over in Interlaken. One time when Richard was on a visit to the States, him and his wife, Joanne, they came back this year to the States, but never made it up here to Michigan, and we never made it anywhere they were this time around. But I think they're coming back later this winter, last I heard, but I think, again, they're going to be down south, so I doubt I will meet up with them this year, but I'm sure that I will when they come back. Richard says I owe him a beer on my new deck out in front of the house, so I'm ready to buy that beer. Let's see, work-wise, everything's clipping along. We're staying reasonably busy at the print shop job, and I'm staying reasonably busy with the courier job, so not to mention Blueberry. So, staying fairly busy. Actually, did a run this morning, a hospital run for the courier company, and don't have to do anything tomorrow, but I have been doing a route that takes me it's a lap around the northern part of the state. I take off from here, go to Charlevoix, which is 50 miles north, and then Petoskey, which is just a little further north, and then I shoot over to Gaylord, which is in the middle of the state, right on I-75, and then over to Alpena, which is on Lake Huron. And I drive down the Huron coast to Tawas, and then across to West Branch, get on I-75 again, go up north to Grayling, Michigan, and then back to Traverse City. I do that every other Sunday. If you're interested in watching my progress or figure out where I'm at over at MikeDell.com, there's a Track Me page. Just click on that, and you'll see where I've been or where I'm at. So it updates in real time. It's a little map there. It's through APRS on ham radio. Speaking of ham radio, so I think I'm going to play another song here. I haven't played this one in a long time, but it's pretty cool. It's you've heard of Classical Gas by Mason Williams. Well, here's Classical Gas. Boy, I can speak English there. In a little bit different tone. And I think it sounds better on a banjo. But I am a fan of the original Mason Williams version. But I'm not sure who did this one, to be honest with you. I got it off of a banjo website. Speaking of banjo, I got Banjo the Wonder Beagle snoring away in the seat behind me in the studio here. He went with me on my run this morning up to Petoskey and he's all tuckered out. Don't know why. He likes riding in the van. He usually has his head stuck out the window when we get into a town and going slow or whatever, but it's a little too cold to leave the window down. So then he just crawls into the back seat and snores away. So that's what he's doing again. Must be nice to get 20 hours of sleep a day or whatever dogs get these days. And as you may or may not know, I am kind of a geek when it comes to technology and gadgetry and whatnot. And for the first time, I think, in quite a while, I have no Windows machines here. Well, I have a Windows laptop. I shouldn't say that. I have a Windows laptop. It never gets used. The only thing that it was ever used for, or the only thing I would ever need it for, is to program one of my ham radios that's really hard to program, D-Star radio, and that's the only reason I even keep that laptop around. That and if one of the other ones break, which doesn't happen very often, but it might. I've got a backup computer. So I shouldn't say I don't have any Windows machines, but I have none in normal use. Kathy's got a Macintosh, Mac Mini, hooked up to a big TV screen. It's kind of nice for her. She gets this nice big monitor. Of course, I've got the 27-inch iMac with 2 extra screens on it. So I've got, kind of the surround screens going on here in the studio. And then laptop, of course, I've got a MacBook and I've got a Chromebook. I got to say, I like the Chromebook. It's good and simple, but it's good for what it's good for. It's not, wouldn't be good for editing video or editing audio. I'm sure it's doable, but, the Mac works a whole lot nicer. And I'm not a Mac fanboy per se or an Apple fanboy, although I've come to appreciate reliability and lack of virus and other malware. So many people get, click on the wrong thing and pow, you've got a virus, or you've got this, or you got that on a Mac or on a Windows machine. On a Mac, pretty much, unless you do something really stupid, which people do. There's not a whole lot of malware for Macs. And nowadays, everything that's worth having is made for both the Mac and Windows. So why not? I'm just going with the Macs. And the nice thing about the Macs, you don't have to replace them nearly as often as you do a PC if you want to keep up with the, the modern stuff. My iMac is 3 years old. My laptop, it's from 2006, so what is that, 8 years old? It's still every bit as useful as it ever was. I did put a solid-state drive in it, so, that sped it up a lot. And like I said, it does what it's supposed to do, and that's just wonderful. So I guess I heard somebody the other day on a podcast mention, that they at one time they were doing IT consulting and they've moved into new media consulting. And he described it as, well, I went from under the desk to on top of the desk, which makes sense. If you're working on IT, you're usually crawling out underneath desks and unplugging and plugging things and dealing with the spaghetti of all the cords and cables. And I still do that for myself, but not nearly as much. Of course, the studio, you'd be amazed at all the wiring and crap that's behind the monitors here, but that's why I've got the desk up against the wall instead of out in the middle of the room. So all the wires are, well, not hidden, but out of sight mostly. And then the other thing, I switched from Android to iOS. I got the iPhone. I don't know if I mentioned that in a previous episode. I might have. But I was always the last three phones. Well, I went from BlackBerry, and then I went to the Droid, which would be really considered the first Nexus device. Nexus is Google's Android, pure Android. There's no stuff on top of it like a lot of the Samsung phones have. TouchWiz, I think it's called, or whatever. But extra stuff that you can't get rid of, and they change how certain things work. And I guess it's all right if you like that kind of stuff. That's kind of like back in the old days when you got a Dell PC, you'd have to spend half the day getting all the crapware off of it. Well, that's kind of what they're doing with Android on the Samsung phones. And, HTC does that, and I'm sure all of them do to a certain extent. But Google's always had this Nexus line, and what that meant was pure Google Experience. And there's also Google Experience versions of some other phones. So what I've always had Nexus phones. I've had, I had the original Droid, then I went to the Galaxy Nexus, which was a Samsung phone, but it was a Nexus, so it didn't have anything from Samsung on it other than their name. And then the last one I had was the Nexus 4. And last time around on the phones, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go iPhone this time. My wife went iPhone, and it was just handy, and it worked, and all that. And then a while back, she decided that the iPad that she was using was too big and heavy. So I traded her my Nexus 7, which is a little tablet, Nexus Android tablet. And she liked that okay. It wasn't as nice as the iPad, so I bought her an iPad mini for her birthday here last month, and then we gave the Nexus to my nephew. So that does it for Android. I don't have any Android devices in the house. Well, I've got my old phone, one of them anyway. But not that I don't like Android, and I probably will at some point get another Android device of some sort, but I don't know. I like the iPhone 5S. I'm looking forward to upgrading to the iPhone 6S probably by the time I get around to it, or whatever comes after the 6 and 6 Plus. I don't think I want one of those giant phones. The 6 Plus is huge, and like the Note 2 Samsung, or Note, I guess they're up to 4. Anyway, I don't think I want a phablet type phone. I think the 4.7-inch iPhone 6 will be sufficient. I gotta admit, the 5S, the screen is a bit small, which makes the type a little bit small, which means I've got to pull my cheaters out to do anything, intense on the phone. But I always got my cheaters with me, so that's all right. And I'm really liking it, and the battery life on it's good. But so and it's reliable. Every time I want to make a phone call, it makes a phone call. And really, that's what a phone is supposed to do. All the other stuff that it does is extra. And the other cool thing is, since Apple come out with a new operating system on the Mac, I don't even remember what it's called. Yosemite, I guess. Yeah, that's it. Yosemite. And iOS 8 on the iPad and the iPhone. If I'm sitting here at my desk, and my phone's upstairs being charged, if the phone rings, it'll ring on my computer, and it'll also ring on the iPad. So I can answer my phone, do texts, either on the Mac or on the iPad. It's, I don't know, it just works. It's neat. It just works. It's reliable, and I don't have to crawl under the desk, so to speak, to make everything work. It just works. So I'm done being the troubleshooter. In fact, I've got Windows 8 on a VM on my Mac here. Never start it. I just wanted to see what it looked like, and it's okay. But if it's me from now on, it's just gonna be get a Mac. If you need a computer, get a Mac. If you need a phone, get an iPhone. That's okay. Maybe I am turning into a fanboy, but they all are good. But there's, like I said, problems with Windows. Even Windows 8 can get viruses, and I mean, just look at all the virus and malware scanners and all that. And you go to web pages. I get a kick out of this. You go to web pages on your Mac, here on my Mac. I'm going to a web page and there's a banner, a big flashing banner ad says, "Your PC is infected. Click here to fix." Like, well, okay, but I'm not on a PC. How do you know it's infected? Or the best one yet, I got a phone call, and watch out for this stuff. It's a real scam. Got a phone call, and it was some guy from India, with a typical Indian call center accent, and said his name was Tony, and he was from Microsoft, and that they had detected that my PC was infected, and if I would sit down in front of my PC, he would walk me through fixing it. Like, okay, this will be fun. So anyway, when he calls, he says, "Your PC's infected." And I said, "Well, which one?" He says, "Well, which one's on the internet?" And I said, "All of them." And he says, "Oh, well, I can't really tell here." And I said, "Oh, and by the way, they're all Macintoshes." Oh, click. So away he went. But, it's just, I don't know. People fall for that, though. And what they do is they walk you through installing their malware, and then they take over your computer, or they, send spam from your computer, or try to get you to spend $500 or something. Who knows what they do, but it's like, you know what? I'm done with that. The other one I heard about, which I haven't run into myself, it's called Crypto Locker, and you can go, if you're on Internet Explorer on your Windows machine, and you go to a infected website, or you click on a link in an email, it loads a little thing on your computer that encrypts the hard drive, and then they lock it out, and they have a thing on there, call this phone number, and for $500, will unencrypt your drive. And if you don't do it within 48 hours, we'll erase your drive, or it'll be locked and you can't get to it. And I mean, that's some serious crap there. Not that I have a lot of stuff on my computers anymore. I mean, I've got the programs, and I do keep some data on there, but for the most part, it's synced to the cloud, and plus I've got an external backup drive humming along here. So as I put stuff on my computer, it goes up to the cloud, and it goes up to this external drive. So I've got it in 3 places, one off-site, and in 2 different formats. So whatever I do have is easily recovered. All the pictures that my wife takes and stuff are synced on iCloud through Apple, because she takes her pictures on her iPhone or her iPad, and they're all synced and up there. And if the computer blows up or the house burns down or something, she's not going to lose any data, and I'm not either. And I don't know. I guess this isn't a Geek of the North podcast, which I haven't done anymore. That's pod faded. So I guess I got to talk about tech somewhere. Anyway, it's a little over a half hour. I guess that's good enough for now. I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. Awesome. And I will catch you later.
That's all, folks.